All right, welcome to This Explainer. For the executive leadership team joining us today, we've put together a really critical risk assessment briefing. Look, right now, across the entire enterprise landscape, we are witnessing an absolute gold rush toward artificial intelligence. I mean, we're seeing promises of incredible productivity gains, massively slashed costs, streamlined efficiency, the whole shebang. But as leaders, your job isn't just to blindly chase innovation, right? Your job is to protect the enterprise. So today, we're going to dive deep into the operational risks of AI adoption and, more importantly, how to actually safely navigate them. So let's jump right in. We're going to ground this highly technical AI strategy in a piece of classic business advice from, believe it or not, the 1600s. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And yeah, the irony of applying a 17th century proverb to 21st century artificial intelligence definitely isn't lost on me. But the truth absolutely holds up. Think about it. If you place everything of value into a single basket and that basket drops, well, you lose everything. Right now, in the massive rush to adopt AI for customer service, data analysis, administration, you name it, a lot of businesses are inadvertently placing all their operational eggs into a single algorithmic basket. And frankly, that brings us to the core vulnerability of our time. You see, the question in boardrooms is no longer whether AI can help your business. We know it can, for sure. The real question, the one we absolutely must focus on for this risk assessment, is what happens when it doesn't work. We need to temporarily shift our executive mindset away from those exciting expected productivity gains and take a really hard look directly at our critical operational dependencies. To do that, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The AI dependency trap. 2. Single points of failure. 3. The erosion of human skill. 4. Liability, compliance, and reputation. And finally, 5. A resilient AI strategy. Let's start right at the top with Section 1. The AI dependency trap, or confusing automation with resilience. Now, there is a massive, and I mean massive, philosophical difference between using AI and depending on AI. If you use AI as a tool, your manual fallbacks remain intact. So if the system suddenly goes down, no panic, your operations just continue. But if you depend on AI by entirely stripping away critical human expertise and fully automating your decisions, you become highly vulnerable to failure. The fundamental error we're seeing so many organizations make right now is mistaking a completely automated, stripped-down process for a resilient one. Ultimately, our true goal has to be operational resilience. That is the ability of a business to continue operating effectively even when critical systems, like our AI platforms, fail or change unexpectedly. Look, our objective as a leadership team isn't to make the business entirely dependent on an algorithm. The goal is to make the business fundamentally stronger with AI. And those are two very different things. Okay, moving on to our second risk vector. Single points of failure and the vulnerability of centralization. You know, engineers spend literally decades designing systems specifically to avoid single points of failure. Just think about it for a second. Commercial aircraft have redundant backup systems. Big data centers have backup generators. Yet some businesses are out there centralizing everything around one single AI platform. Think about the cascading business impacts of everyday vendor risks. A major service outage? Your operations halt completely. A dramatic pricing surge? Suddenly scaling is totally unaffordable. A critical feature removal breaks your internal workflows, or a provider gets acquired, forcing a massive, incredibly costly migration. History constantly proves that the tech industry changes rapidly. Platforms we consider absolutely essential today could literally vanish tomorrow. So the question isn't whether technology can fail. We all know technology has always failed, right? The real question I want the C-suite to reflect on today is this. Can your business actually continue operating when it does? Have we unknowingly created a massive single point of failure right inside our own enterprise? Let's shift gears to the third area, the erosion of human skill, which brings with it a massive, hidden human cost. It's really common to view AI purely as a magic bullet to reduce headcount and repetitive workloads. But we really need to consider the unwritten knowledge that is permanently lost when we aggressively trim our staff. We lose that deep contextual understanding. We lose the nuances of specific industry quirks. We completely lose the ability to navigate complex edge cases. And honestly, most importantly, we lose the exact people who know how to execute manual fallback procedures. When you remove skilled staff, you aren't just cutting a salary off the books, you're potentially tossing out decades of accumulated institutional experience. And here's what happens over time. The remaining staff become so reliant on the AI that they literally forget, or maybe they never even learn in the first place, how to do the job manually. So if the AI goes down, operations just freeze. What was once considered this brilliant cost saving rapidly transforms into a wildly costly vulnerability. Actually, let's talk numbers and look at the actual math. Sure, you might expect lower headcount, faster processing, and reduced overheads, but those are often totally offset by hidden operational costs. We're talking API limits and usage fees that scale aggressively as you grow. There's the massive burden of extensive data preparation, and let's not forget the continuous maintenance and prompt engineering required just to keep the AI functioning properly day to day. As leaders, we absolutely must ensure we are evaluating the entire AI ledger, the whole picture, before making permanent structural changes. And that leads us perfectly into risk number 4, liability, compliance, and reputation. Or, as I like to call it, the difference between trusting and verifying. Look, AI can generate some incredibly impressive results, no doubt, but it can also confidently generate total mistakes and hallucinations. So I have to ask leadership to explicitly consider this right now. Who is actually liable for AI errors? If an AI system generates a completely incorrect document or provides genuinely bad information to a client, who takes the fall? Who is accountable? Let's raise the stakes even further here. Who answers to the regulators if an AI breaches compliance requirements? If your business is operating in finance, healthcare, legal services, insurance, or honestly any heavily regulated environment, an automated decision making a material error isn't just a simple oops moment, it's a massive, potentially devastating regulatory breach. And here is the hard, unavoidable truth that resolves this whole tension. Your business remains responsible. Full stop. Accountability does not transfer to the software. You simply cannot outsource your legal liability to an algorithm. Trusting AI is not the same thing as verifying AI. So human oversight isn't just a nice-to-have feature. From a legal and compliance standpoint, it is absolutely non-negotiable. And beyond the legal liability, there's the very real threat of reputational damage. At the end of the day, customers judge us by outcomes, not explanations. Trust is rapidly destroyed by things like inappropriate automated emails accidentally blasted out to valued clients, or incorrect information confidently hallucinated and published right there on your public website, or poor, even potentially harmful, advice generated by customer-facing chatbots. A single mistake? Sure, it might be forgiven, but repeated AI errors? That destroys credibility, fast. AI really must be treated strictly as an assistant, not an infallible authority. Okay, now that we've mapped out the threat matrix, let's pivot to some actual solutions in Section 5, a resilient AI strategy and the better approach to integration. Before we lay out the roadmap, we really need to understand why so many businesses struggle to see those promised productivity gains. Let me tell you, the barrier is rarely the technology itself. Mostly, it's poor underlying data quality. It's misaligned expectations of what the AI can actually do in the real world. It's a severe lack of adequate staff training, and most fundamentally, it's treating AI as a complete, standalone solution rather than a highly integrated tool. The real challenge is entirely about planning exactly where and how to apply it effectively. So, what is our strategic mandate? Well, here is your step-by-step roadmap for safe integration. First, maintain your manual process capabilities. Whatever you do, do not lose your human fallback. Second, actively diversify your tech stack and avoid single vendor lock-in. Third, treat AI strictly as a collaborative assistant, definitely not a wholesale replacement for human judgment. And finally, mandate continuous human oversight to protect both your compliance and your reputation. I want to leave you with this really powerful thought from our briefing materials. The businesses most likely to succeed will successfully combine the strengths of people and artificial intelligence. True success in this new era requires rigorous risk assessment and real, tested contingency planning. It is far more complex than just purchasing software subscriptions and cutting staff. We have to be a lot smarter than that. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to challenge the board and everyone watching to critically evaluate your current AI roadmap before it's too late. Ask yourselves this final, truly vital question. Is your business actually stronger with AI, or have you just become more dependent? Thank you so much for joining me for this briefing, and I'll leave you to ponder that.